Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Live at the Waterhole. It is so good to have you all with us this morning. My name is Amy, and I will be with you for the first half of the show today. And we are starting off this morning at Okakuyo in Namibia. And what a beautiful, peaceful start to the morning it is. Just to let you all know that this is a live and interactive show, so wherever you are watching us from, please do send through your comments and questions. I'd love to hear from you. Tell me, who you are, where you're from, maybe how long you've been watching the show for, what you've enjoyed so far, what you're hoping to see today. I'm hoping we get another herd of elephants here at Okakuyo a little bit later. That would be fantastic. A beautiful clear day here in Namibia. Yesterday there were a few clouds around, but it looks like those have dissipated completely. Some animals already coming to get water this morning. I can see a few springbuck around the edge of the water, as well as some oryx or gebsbok there as well on the right hand side. Well, it is looking like a beautiful day here at Okakuyo, but how about we have a look at what the weather is doing across all our locations. Well, overall quite warm across the locations this morning, but there is a little bit of rain around. Quite overcast and humid here in the Lowveld. I know that when we cross over to Madikwe, there's a bit of rain there at the moment, if you can believe it. Sort of feels like it's from nowhere, but in the summer season, it is the rainy season. Can get very warm, and then there's a thunder shower, and then it clears up again. So we do get this little bit of up and down weather, especially now in the early summer before it settles into the heat of January and February. Hi Lenny, happy Tuesday to you as well. Thank you for joining once again. I really do appreciate you watching the show so faithfully. I'm sure it has been great for you to also see the change in the landscapes in certain areas day after day when we come back, and we get to see now with the summer rains the vegetation starting to change, especially in places like Jamala and Tau Lodge. But how beautiful are these oryx drinking here, everyone? Wow. Let's just enjoy them and their reflections for a moment. So there is an exciting opportunity for all our UK viewers. So if you are watching the show in the UK, this is directed especially at you. And it is a competition called the Daily Express competition, where you can win a 6-night all-inclusive safari. Oh my word, that is incredible. And WildEarth is offering 6 nights for 2 people at the exclusive Amakhala Game Reserve in the Eastern Cape of South Africa, which is one of the locations that we often broadcast from in our live safaris in the morning and the evening. International flights from the UK to Johannesburg and internal transfers are included. All food, beverages and safari activities. So really there's no expenses for you other than perhaps a curio that you wish to take back with you. And you can go to wildearth.tv/Sunday-Express/ before the 19th of November, which is next week Sunday, I think. So you've got about almost exactly 2 weeks to fill out your details and answer this question. What channel number is WildEarth on Freeview in the UK? And you can read the full article in the UK's Sunday Express, which was released on the 5th of November, for all of the details. So go ahead and answer the question, enter the competition, and you could win an incredible all-inclusive 6-night stay at the amazing Amakhala Game Reserve. I know if I was in the UK, I would definitely be entering that. Alright, well, I see some wildebeest have come to drink here, but apparently there are some elephants that have arrived at Djuma. They have arrived and now they're moving, but hopefully they're going to come back to the water, everybody. There, a few come out now. That's fantastic. First Ellies of the day, everybody. That is a fantastic way for us to start the day. I think perhaps that spot that they were first at there was maybe a little bit small for all of them, so they decided to move along the Waterhole to find a place that's more conducive to so many of them. But let's just enjoy all the sounds, everyone. This is one of my favorite moments that you can experience on a safari.
Step into a world of discovery as you join Eco-Training's renowned courses in the heart of Kenya's Masai Mara. These courses are the perfect way to gain a deep understanding of the African bush, even if you have limited time. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to experience the wild in a meaningful and life-changing way. Enroll today and embark on a transformative journey with Eco-Training in Kenya's Masai Mara, the leading force in conservation education.
Well, those elephants came and went, everyone, and it was beautiful. I'm so glad that we were able to catch them. When we first came across, I thought they were all hurrying off back into the bush without even having a drink of water. But I'm so happy that they did decide to come to the water to have a drink. And the waterbuck have also been beautiful just to see them. They often are around this area, around the Waterhole. We had a female and a young male just starting to ruminate there. But anyway, we'll keep our eyes peeled here, see if there's anything else that does come down, and we'll always pop on back over if there is something that we'd like to see. But otherwise, let's head back over to Namibia. Still such a peaceful scene here at the Waterhole. Some zebras did come down to drink there on the far side. And of course the ever-present springbok that are also here having a drink of water throughout the day.
Whether you're a retiree, a recent graduate, or a professional seeking a change, the 55-day eco-training program is for you. With the coaching of experienced training guides, you'll embark on an unforgettable adventure that will give you a deep understanding of wildlife, conservation, and African cultures. If you sign up locally or internationally using this promo code, you'll receive 2,000 Rand off.
I've just been looking at this scene and absolutely loving how beautifully still this water is. So still, in fact, that it looks like a perfect mirror or reflection of these animals as they are in the water. Oh, and we have a whole lot of gemsbok now approaching, even a little one there on the right, which is always special to see. I always judge the weather in Okakuyo by what the water looks like. And I know that might sound peculiar, but when it's completely flat like this, it means that there's no wind, or no strong wind anyway. It's a beautiful blue color, and so it just looks very peaceful and very calm there. Whereas sometimes we can really get some very strong winds in this area. So strong it makes sort of like a dust storm. The water's all murky and rough, and it's got a lot of ripples on top of it. So we'll have to see as the day goes on. The weather may change, the wind may pick up, but for now it looks like an absolutely perfect day here. I do apologize for that bit of picture breakup here, everybody. I think what we're going to do is we are going to head over to Juma and come back here a little bit later. I do believe it is the same male that we had on camera yesterday. He's stuck around this area. We can never know for sure what's going to happen, but I'm glad to see he is around, survived the night, and perhaps we'll be able to catch him coming down for a drink of water again. He must obviously find this area around water with some thick vegetation where he can lie down in quite comfortable, feeling quite secure, not wanting to leave the area just yet. It's difficult to say if he's doing better or worse today. This is the first I've seen of him, and he looks very much the same as yesterday. For those viewers who are joining us for the first time, or who are perhaps new to the story of this male, he appeared on the camera yesterday not looking so well, everyone. He apparently was vomiting a little bit, his belly heaving in and out, and so we're not sure exactly what is wrong with him. He didn't look injured or any sort of limp or anything like that, but we did see him come down to drink some water, and I said yesterday that that was a great sign. just to know that an animal is still drinking water is a good thing out here in the wild. But I also, these animals are incredibly resilient, and just because an animal is sick or hurt doesn't mean that they are not going to live. So we'll have to just keep our eyes on him. The team on the ground as well, I'm sure, will follow up over the days and weeks to come to see if he does improve his condition. It does seem to be quite a strong breeze there at Djuma today, even though it is very warm. It is overcast and quite a strong wind. So that lion is enjoying a nice sheltered spot just next to the water here. Now, I'm just thinking out loud about this, but those elephants came down just next to where that lion was lying, and I don't know if he moved at all. I mean, I didn't see him when we quickly viewed the elephants. He's very well camouflaged there, but I wonder if that was not the reason that those elephants didn't drink where they first came to. They came down maybe with the strong wind. They didn't pick up his scent at first. Then once they were standing downwind from him, they realized there was a lion in the bush, and he's not well enough to really, react, and those elephants weren't going to walk right through the bush on top of him, so he didn't move. And then they turned around and came to the other side. So that's actually quite interesting. I didn't even know there was a lion there when we came across for those elephants. So these were the waterbuck that we saw earlier. They've just come over and decided to lie down here and ruminate. And when we talk about rumination, we talk about this re-chewing of food. We can see the waterbuck on the left and in the middle both doing the exact same thing with their mouths. And what happens is that in order for them to be able to get the nutrition they need out of the grass that they eat, they need to break down the plant material to a very, very fine texture. And the way that they do that is through regurgitating cud and re-chewing it. And so what happens is that they have a 4-chambered stomach, and in that first chamber they have all the loose particles that they eat the first time. And what happens is that the biggest particles with the largest surface area float on top of the stomach, and so the animal regurgitates those coarser pieces, re-chews and swallows, and so the finer pieces then go below the bigger pieces, and eventually when all the plant material is of the same texture, it then can pass through onto the next chamber of the stomach, and they can then carry on feeding. And that is how the rumination works in these animals. The impalas you see there are also ruminants. Alright, well, it looks like the feed is slightly better now at Okakuyo, so why don't we head back over there? Well, it is incredible how in just a few moments scenes can change, everyone. Here we have, it looks like a herd of kudus that have come down to drink. As well as a few more springbok that have arrived. Hi Picasso, you want to know if there are both black and white rhino at Okakuyo, and as far as I know, Picasso, yes, in this area, the Tosha Park, you can definitely see rhinos up here. I know for a fact that the black rhino, I had friends who came and visited the area, and it was a magnificent sighting of a black rhino that we don't get to actually see that often anymore, if you can believe it. And then definitely the more common white rhino as well in the area. It's wonderful that these rhinos across the whole of southern Africa, there's really is an effort to preserve them and increase their number as much as possible. I'm not certain as to whether the rhinos here have been dehorned or not. That's something I'm not sure of, Picasso. But dehorning is something that's done to help protect these animals from poaching, as they remove what is seen as valuable on these animals. And it's one of the great frustrations for those of us who do understand a little bit more about the rhino horn and the fact that it's just made up of keratin, which is a hardened hair. It's the same thing that we have on our heads, in our nails, and many other animals also have keratin. And it's really nothing special. And unfortunately, we just hardly ever see rhinos with their horns on anymore. But it's for their own good, and it's for the greater good in saving the species. So it is what must be done at this point in time. But I do hope and have a positive, I suppose, hope inside of me personally, that one day we'll be able to see all of our rhinos in the wild as they were originally, with their horns on, as they do regrow. So that's something that is a positive thing. Once they're removed, they're not gone forever. And so that is what I hope, that one day, because a rhino's horn is just absolutely magnificent when it is on them.
What if you could explore the world from an entirely new perspective? Flying a real drone live without leaving home. This is Nature Eye. Discover our planet's landscapes with a personal guide and a powerful camera. Every flight helps conserve the locations you visit. Book your adventure with Nature Eye.
It is very well camouflaged now, everyone, but there's a giraffe standing just behind those kudu. Oh, there we go, it's moving. It's incredible how it disappeared there when it was in front of those dark trees. But I think we may get a giraffe coming to drink, everybody. And if you have not yet seen a giraffe drink at a waterhole, you're in for a treat. If you're wondering why it's walking sort of away from the water, I think there's a game path there that it's going to follow and then come around. So because of all these rocks, something like a giraffe would like to stick to where it's easiest to walk on. And so I think it's just doing a bit of a loop, and then we might see it come down to the water a bit later. But what a beautiful scene with these oryx and springbuck, kudu, giraffe. We really are being spoilt here at Okukuyo today. Hi Caitlin, you want to know if there's any crocodiles in the water here by these animals, and no, there wouldn't be any crocs here in this particular area, or hippos, and from my understanding it has to do with the fact that there's no significantly all year round water sources like rivers that are passing through, so that is how, of course, the rivers and crocs, in order to move great distances, they use those river systems and then cross over short distances of land to end up in the likes of these waterholes. So at this point, that is why these animals are so comfortable to be able to go so far into the water. I can tell you that they wouldn't do these springbuck and oryx if there were crocodiles around. They definitely wouldn't be as happy to go so far in the waterholes in South Africa where there are crocodiles. You know, an impala wouldn't go so far into the water unless it was forced or being chased or felt like the water was safer, which, you know, it's possible. We definitely see that happen. And like we see sometimes waterbuck go into the water and cross over for grazing, or elephants even. But in general, the smaller antelopes like these springbuck or the equivalent in size, something like an impala in other areas where there are crocodiles in the waterholes, then, you know, we wouldn't see these smaller antelope wading so far in just to drink water. They are a lot more cautious and very sort of aware that they could be grabbed at any moment. Alright, so another reminder to all our UK viewers about the amazing chance for you to win a 6-night all-inclusive safari experience with WildEarth. That is a chance to stay at the amazing Amakhala Game Reserve, which is one of the locations on our safari lives in the morning and the evening that we do broadcast from. And for all our viewers in the UK, you just simply need to answer the question as to what channel number is the Freeview channel which you can watch WildEarth on in the UK, and you can send that in before the 19th of November on the wildearth.tv website under the Sunday Express competition, and then you could stand a chance to win all-inclusive international flights, food, beverages, internal transfers, everything's included. So if you'd like to enter that competition, please do answer the question on the website and you can submit your answers to stand a chance to win. So here we have, it looks like an impala drinking just behind the oryx, and there was a question regarding If there are, if the antelope here were impalas, and I said no, we can see that they are springbuck, and how much darker an impala would be if it was here as well. And now we can actually see that difference. So the impala that's drinking on the far side, you can see how much darker it is in color, a lot more browner coat without this sort of white underbelly. The springbuck's coat's a lot more tawny, light tawny color on top, whereas an impala is a lot darker. It's just there by the oryx that are getting out of the water now. Almost looks the color of a kudu at this distance, but just a lot smaller. And so that's a really nice example to be able to see the difference for those who do get confused between impala and springbuck. I see this giraffe has slowly made its way and has decided that it needs to come get some water, everyone. So it's been a process for this giraffe. It's taken a long way around, but like I said, they don't really want to walk just anywhere. They'd rather follow a game trail towards the water. So I think we may see it now coming towards the water to drink. But still cautious, even though, you know, there may not be a crocodile in the water here, it's still
Africam brings the wild to you. Watch the big 5 at our Waterhole cameras. Indulge your passion for birding with the black eagles on the Black Eagle camera, flamingos at Camphor's Dam, and penguins at Stony Point. Listen to the soothing sounds of Lisbon Falls, or witness animals up close at Cat Eye Pan. Imagine you're at the hide at Aldonyo Lodge, gazing at elephants with the majestic Mount Kilimanjaro as your backdrop. Join us at Africam for an extraordinary wildlife adventure.
So it'll be interesting to see if this giraffe does eventually brave it out. But there is a rather large bird, everyone, that was on the ground there. I don't know if we're going to be able to see it. It looked very similar to a Cory bustard, which is what I would liken it to. I'm not sure if it is one, but that was sort of the size range that I was looking at. It's there. If we see the oryx on the right hand side of the waterhole directly behind it, it's walking from the game trail there, but anyway, it might be tricky to try and see. It's very well camouflaged. So the oryx that's now walking away from the waterhole, I think it's going to walk right past that bird. It's in that area on the far side of the waterhole. Oh, there it goes. Okay, I'm just going to try and explain so we can get the camera onto it, everybody. if we go straight directly up from the first kudu on the right hand side of this waterhole, in the rocks there's a dark log that's lying there, and it's just actually walking now in that area from left to right. We'll see if we can get it on camera. Well, a closer view of it. It's actually just passing that dark log now. So a little bit up from that, I can see its legs moving on the top left of the screen. It's actually moving quite quickly. There we go. And then straight in from there, you can actually see that very large bird now in the clearing there. Well, it's sort of a little bit of a clearing with less rocks around, coming right into the middle of the screen now. So it is a large bird. I can just see that by the way, how much space it's taking up even from so far away. So right in sort of the middle of the screen, we see a fallen over tree that's got quite a few branches on it. And just to the left of that, there is one springbuck standing on its own. And immediately left from that springbuck, I can see the bird. It's standing still now, which also makes it very tricky to see. Okay, there we go, it's moving. I wonder at home if you can spot it. But I'm thinking something like a Kori bustard. So that's one of the largest ground birds that we find in southern Africa. And also one of the heaviest birds that can still fly, which is amazing. Much closer to the water there, it looks like a one of the black-headed herons that's walking as well. So that's now a different type of bird. But it's gotten so much more busy here at this waterhole as it's heated up, everybody. I can see this heron just at the edge of the white rocks before this first brown game trail, and it's moving from left to right. It looks like a black-headed heron. I know we did see one here before on the waterhole, and it does look like it has a dark neck. For those of you who enjoy, sort of spot the difference, or maybe puzzles or something like this, this is a great challenge to be able to find the animal that the presenter's talking about. No, I think that it's just a little bit too far to make out any distinguishing features. But like I said, large ground bird that we would possibly see in this area. So I would say one of the bustards. I think there are a lot more birds around than what we realize here at Okukuyo, just because of their camouflaging and the way the rocks really do hide things away. So it's tricky to identify them, see them, let alone identify them. So it's easier if they're right next to the water, or then on this open bare soil that we see closest to the camera. But I do love a challenge, so I'm sure we'll keep looking here at Okukuyo to see what new birds we can identify. Well, we have seen a few different species come to drink here already this morning. So I wonder, I don't know if that giraffe actually eventually made it. Oh, there we go. I was just wondering about the giraffe. When I do see a giraffe in this very open area, I'm very much 100% sure that it's coming down to the water, because, you know, for a giraffe, there's nothing else to offer it here in such a large expanse of open area. There's one or two trees, but for the most part, its best browsing is going to be there in the distant tree line. So if it's making the effort to come all the way out here, it must be because it is needing water.
I started watching WildEarth during COVID. I decided that I wanted to study more and I saw that Eco Training Pridelands was doing courses, and I decided to do the 8-week online theory course at the end of last year. There's just so much out there to learn and to experience.
Sign up for an Eco Training digital course today with the promo code to receive 200 Rand off.
Well, it looks like the giraffe has finished its drink, is now meandering back along the path which it came from to head off to the trees, which it will start feeding from a bit later on. But the weather seems to be holding here as well. Still beautiful. Well, I'm so glad that we got to see that giraffe drink. It's always pays off when you wait with an animal. You have an expectation of what you think it may do, and then it does it, and it's quite fulfilling. I'm still crossing fingers that we may get that herd of elephants again, perhaps not within the first half of the show. We have another hour left together, so it's very well possible that the elephant herds may arrive again here. But otherwise, when I hand over the show for the second half, you may be able to see some animals coming to drink like elephants here. It's always exciting, the possibilities. I know I've said it many times before, but it really is what we all love about the bush so much. Hi Starbuck, thanks so much for sending through your question. You want to know how water dependent giraffes are, and they aren't extremely water dependent. So, you know, they're not something like elephants or buffalo that really, specifically buffalo, even more so than elephants, like water is vital to their digestion and all sorts of things. So they'll drink once, twice in the summer, even maybe 3 times a day. A giraffe does need to be within you know, a radius of a few kilometers of water. They can't just, you know, be in the middle of somewhere without it. They do need water to survive, of course, as do most living things, even if it is just dew. And sometimes that often happens at certain times of the year where the giraffe will actually get enough moisture from the food that it's eating, or let's say it rains or there's dew on the leaves of trees that it's eating, and so it doesn't actually need to come have a drink from the water. So it could be 2 or 3 days before the same giraffe has to come and have a proper drink of water, like we saw it doing here. Because we don't see giraffe here every day at Okukuyo, or not necessarily the same giraffe. Zebra are actually very similar to that. They can go a day or 2 without visiting water, and are very happy to do so. You know, they don't have to seek out water every single day in order to function properly. But this is beautiful to see these zebra drinking like this here. There are even more zebra on their way, everybody. Looks like this giraffe isn't quite finished yet. I thought maybe it was done. It did seem to be walking away from the water, and now it looks like it still needs a little bit more. Hi Bella, thank you so much for your comment. You say that giraffe makes the other animals look so small, and it does, doesn't it? It really really makes the other animals look absolutely, tiny. Imagine if there was an elephant standing there. Giraffes are taller than elephants though, so in comparison, height wise, it really does stand well above the other animals. If one of those zebras had to walk right by that giraffe, it would probably only come up to its knees. They really are massive in size. Nowhere near as heavy as an elephant, but definitely taller. But it's so interesting, Bella, when we do have opportunities to compare one animal to another and be able to see the size differences between one species to the other. And it's always nice to get an idea of just how big some of these large mammals really are. If you do hear any sort of voices in the background, I do want to just explain that there are tourists that do come and have a look at this very same waterhole that we are looking at. So at Okukuyo you may hear one or two, sometimes louder, sometimes softer voices, just so that everyone does know where those are coming from.
Better is more than a word to us. It's a commitment to conserve our nation's precious landscapes, oceans, and wildlife. It's more sustainable fishing and farming practices, jobs and prosperity for our communities, and access to clean drinking water for all. Better's believing that together we can make a difference. For nature and for you.
All right, well, everyone,